Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive. Today we're tackling ICT Presales Engineering, which is a pretty crucial role in tech. We're talking about the people who connect those complex tech solutions with the businesses that need them.
It's a fascinating area for sure. And you're right, it's about bridging that gap between, well, tech and business value, and that's not always easy.
That's where RoleCatcher's career guides come in, right? They're amazing for really understanding this career path.
Yeah, they have guides for everything. Skills, salaries, interview prep, you name it. And speaking of salary, the guide mentions that ICT pre-sales engineers are in high demand. Starting salaries are around salary range on average, and they can get way up there as you progress. Plus, you're working with the latest and greatest tech, which has got to be exciting.
Okay, so let's break down what an ICT Presales Engineer actually does, because the title, I gotta say, sounds kind of vague.
Well, picture a client comes to you with a problem, right? Their network's running slower than molasses, or maybe their data security is about as strong as a house of cards.
Oof, yeah, that's a recipe for disaster these days.
Exactly. So you, as the ICT pre-sales engineer, you come in, figure out exactly what they need, and then craft the perfect tech solution. You're like a tech detective, I guess you could say. But instead of solving crimes, you're solving business problems with tech.
I like that, the tech detective. So it's not just fixing what's broken, it's like you said, really understanding their business and using tech to help them grow.
Exactly. And that means you need a deep understanding of both the tech and the business side of things. It's a real balancing act.
Definitely not a career for for someone who doesn't like to be challenged or who's afraid of hard work. RoleCatcher also mentions how dynamic the role is always changing. What does that mean for someone thinking about this path?
It means you got to be ready to learn constantly. New technologies pop up all the time, like mention a specific technology relevant to ICT. So you have to be adaptable, a quick learner, and honestly get a thrill out of staying ahead of the curve.
It's not about memorizing facts then, but being able to adapt and learn new tech quickly. Sounds like a pretty big challenge. But let's be real, every job has its pros and cons. We talked about the cool tech and the earning potential, but what about the downsides?
Well, it's not always going to be easy, that's for sure. You're going to be in a fast-paced environment, probably some high-pressure situations, and you're juggling client expectations, deadlines, and of course, those sales targets.
So being comfortable with pressure and able to think on your feet is key. And that constant learning curve probably adds another layer to that, right?
Absolutely. Imagine late nights researching some brand new tech or brainstorming sessions with the sales team trying to crack a particularly tough problem for a client. You got to be able to apply that knowledge creatively and quickly.
Okay, so we've established that this is about way more than just being good with computers. You need that technical side for sure, but also business sense and that ability to perform under pressure. So how do you even start down this career path? Let's talk education.
Well, it all starts with a good foundation, which is where a relevant degree comes in. We're talking computer science, information technology, any of the engineering disciplines, basically. Anything that gives you that deep dive into how technology actually works.
Makes sense, got to speak the language of tech, right? But is a degree enough in today's world?
It's a good start, but RoleCatcher really emphasizes going beyond the classroom, you know? Think internships, workshops, even just building your own projects at home to get that practical experience.
Yeah, it really is. It's like you can read all about, say, building a website, but until you actually try to code one yourself, you don't really know what you're doing.
Totally. And speaking of boosting your tech skills, the RoleCatcher guide also mentions certifications. Those are a big deal in IT, right?
Yeah, they can be huge. Think of it like adding tools to your tool belt. They show employers you're serious about your career and that you've got the skills to back it up.
So it's like saying, hey, I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk.
Yeah.
What certifications are we talking about specifically in the ICT world? What should people look into? There are a few big ones, CCNP, for example. That one's all about Cisco networking, so it's essential if you're working with their systems, which, let's face it, a lot of companies are. Then you've got your CISSP, which is all about cybersecurity. That one's globally recognized.
So those are like proof you can handle the big leagues. Sounds like a smart move for sure. So we've talked about getting started, getting that hands-on experience, but what's the actual career path look like?
RoleCatcher actually lays out a pretty clear progression. You start as a junior ICT pre-sales engineer, then you work your way up to eventually a principal ICT pre-sales engineer.
Okay, so let's break that down. What's a junior level role actually like day to day?
It's a lot of learning, honestly. You're supporting the more senior people on the team, getting your hands dirty with the groundwork. product demos, presentations, maybe configuring solutions for smaller projects, that sort of thing.
Paying your dues, getting that experience, and then from there you move into more of a leadership position.
Exactly. That's when you become ICT Presales Engineer, no more junior. You're leading client meetings, working on more complex solutions, maybe even giving presentations yourself. Communication becomes super important at that stage.
Got to be able to explain things clearly, even to the non-techies out there, right?
100%. You're becoming a trusted advisor at that point, guiding your clients and helping them make smart choices about their tech.
Okay, so you've got the client communication down, you're killing it with presentations, your tech skills are top-notch. What's next?
Senior ICT Presales Engineer.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. At this level, you're not just managing projects, you're leading them. You're the go-to expert. You're mentoring the junior team members. The buck kind of stops with you.
High stakes. So the problems you're solving at that point are probably way more complex, too.
Oh, absolutely. We're not talking textbook stuff anymore. These are real-world, messy business problems that need creative solutions. You have to think on your feet and anticipate problems before they even happen.
Sounds like a pretty amazing feeling to be able to do that. But we can't forget the peak of the mountain, that principal ICT Presales Engineer. What makes them different?
These are the people setting the strategy.
Yeah.
They're working with, like, the CEOs and CTOs, deciding the entire tech direction of the company.
Wow, so they've gone from solving those individual puzzles to shaping the future of tech for their entire organization. That's impressive. But before we get too lost in the big picture, let's talk about something a bit more practical: interviews. And we know RoleCatcher has that massive database of interview questions. It's like having a cheat sheet for your dream job.
Oh, yeah, those are a lifesaver, believe me. Interviews for these roles, they can be tough. It's not just about knowing the tech inside and out. You got to show them you can communicate those ideas, too.
Right, so it's not just what you know, it's how you explain it. Like, I don't know if you've heard this one, but it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
That's it, exactly. You could be the smartest person in the room, but if you can't get your point across, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Nope. And that's where those RoleCatcher guides come in, right? They've got those questions that come up all the time. It's like they have a direct line to the hiring managers.
And one thing they emphasize is showing off your experience. You know, like anyone can say, oh yeah, I'm great with cloud computing, but did you actually use it to solve a real problem for a business? That's the stuff they want to hear about.
So instead of just saying you're good at something, tell them about a time you used that skill to, I don't know, save the company thousands of dollars or launch a new product, something like that.
Now you're speaking their language. They eat that stuff up.
And it's not just the questions. RoleCatcher also has those AI practice tools, right? Have you gotten to try those out?
Oh yeah, those are really something. It's like having a virtual coach giving you feedback on everything, how you sound, your body language, even what you say. It's wild.
That's amazing. RoleCatcher's really thought of everything to get you ready for that interview. But let's say you get the job right. This industry changes so fast. What advice would you give to someone just starting out?
Never stop learning. That's the biggest thing. The tech you're using today could be old news tomorrow, so you got to be constantly learning, trying new things, you know? Embrace that challenge.
It's like that saying, the only constant is change, right?
Yeah.
Especially in tech. But aside from the technical stuff, what else is important in this field?
Those soft skills. Don't underestimate them. You're going to be working with people, clients, your team, everyone. So being able to communicate well, negotiate, solve problems on the fly, those are all super valuable.
It's that human element that often gets overlooked. Because tech, at the end of the day, is all about people, right? Connecting us, solving our problems, that kind of thing. So if you can bridge that gap between the tech and the people, well, you're going to go far.
Absolutely. So if you're listening, remember, your skills are crucial. Yeah. But it's that passion, that willingness to learn, and connecting with the people around you, that's what really makes a difference.
Love that. So much great advice for anyone interested in the ICT world. Huge thanks to RoleCatcher for all the incredible resources, and to you, of course, for sharing your expertise with us. And everyone listening, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.